I'd like to start off the questioning by just asking you a question from the perspective of VANOC. And what I'm wondering is what your evaluation will be able to tell us about the contribution that the Torch Relay program has made to promoting the games, to promoting Canada, to promoting British Columbia, given that in addition to the Torch Relay, VANOC has invested tremendous efforts in various ways to promote all of these things.
Well, as Shannon had mentioned, the goals of the initiative as well as the goals of the games are, a lot of them overlap. So we do feel that with the initiative, there are goals being met, such as participation of Aboriginal groups, spreading the spirit of the games. And so we feel that there's sort of that collaboration between the two, and we feel that our evaluation will best demonstrate that information. So when we said that we were going to come in contact with the Aboriginal groups, that is directly related to the goals, one of the goals of the initiatives, which is to assess Aboriginal participation.
Additionally, the research into documents regarding tourism and of the nature, I think, will give us a clear picture of how awareness of not only Canada but British Columbia specifically, how it has benefited them in terms of the economy and their tourism. And so I think that additional research into those areas.
Thank you. Can you just a follow-up, how will you attribute those changes in tourism, for example, to the Torch Relay as opposed to other activities that we've undertaken?
As part of the document review, we could make comparisons of data post the relay and the Olympic Games to previous VANOC activities to see, how effective it is in regards to those other activities.
And I'd just like to point out one more thing. With regards to attributing the awareness and these different types of changes to the actual Torch Relay, that is, it could be open to interpretation when we're looking at numbers and tourism increases, things like that. But certainly with the face-to-face interviews and mail-out surveys, we will be asking specifically about the Torch Relay, and therefore that will be our indicator of attribution there.
That was a very interesting and a very detailed presentation. I have a question on a technical detail. As a evaluation manager at Canadian Heritage, my concern is really going to be around the budget and the time required for the project. I'm wondering if you'd given any thought to web-based surveys. I noticed that the mail survey requires the largest part of the budget as well as most of the time, and I'm wondering if you thought about web-based surveys and what your conclusions were on that.
Yeah, actually, that was one of the first things we had discussed, but we felt it might be a challenge because in some parts of Canada, they may not have access to computers as well as internet. And so we decided that a mailed survey might be the best approach. Even though we do recognize that there are limitations of it, we do feel that it would get us the best chance of getting the widest reach to who we intend to survey.
Okay, so just a quick follow-up question. You had mentioned that there's certainly cultural and language barriers in terms of reaching Aboriginal, ethnocultural, and official language populations with the mail survey. Did you think about maybe some strategies on how you might address some of those barriers?
Yeah, we certainly we thought about that, and I think that was one of the main reasons to use the mail survey, because since access and reach is an issue here, we think that going to a web-based survey would be certainly limiting in that sense. But in addition to the mail-out survey, we hope to connect up with the celebration communities. There was, I think, 189 of those celebration communities, and we hope to use liaisons who collaborated with VANOC for that, and hopefully reach out to the Aboriginal community so that they will participate through face-to-face interviews, which would be the same content as the mail-out survey, but it would address possible cultural and language barriers because there will be someone there to assist with filling out the questionnaire. Does that answer your question?
That's great, yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much. I will rely on the evaluation manager to discuss technical issues. My concern personally is on the way the information will be relayed to the public and also the way the evaluation is being managed in a sense. So I have two questions. The first one is you say you have a steering committee composed of stakeholders. Stakeholders are very diverse, I've seen. How do you plan to select and control the discussion of this evaluation through this committee?
Sorry. Okay, so we have quite a lot of expertise in facilitating discussions. Therefore, we hope that our steering committees will be quite focused. From reading the proposal, we demonstrated the stakeholders that we've identified, and we would most likely choose at least one representative from each. However, there seems to be quite a large participation of VANOC and the Canadian Heritage, or the Department of Canadian Heritage. So we want to possibly have a number of representatives from those organizations. So that being said, we really need to also install or have protocol and agendas so that things are focused and well organized. The discussions are efficient. We're not going over time. We're getting at the issues that are at hand, and we're really staying focused. So I think that's certainly where we're coming from on the steering committee side of it. As far as getting the information out to the public goes, I think that during the process of the evaluation, we need to stress confidentiality while the evaluation is going through, and then possibly talking to the stakeholders and people who are on the steering committee to discuss the best way to disseminate those results that we do come across.
Okay, thank you. My second question is about the type of information we'll have at our disposal to reach a decision on funding. At the end, we'll have to decide if this project is worth funding in the future, and how much money will have to be allocated to that type of exercise. So can you, without prejudging on the results of the evaluation, can you tell us a little bit what type of information will be made available to us to reach such decisions?
I think our final report will be a comprehensive way for you to make that decision. I feel that with our mixed method approach, because we're using surveys as well as, so we're using qualitative and quantitative data, and we're using surveys and interviews, which it offer us opinions and perspectives, but you'll also have statistics such as Stephen mentioned, statistics on tourism. So I think with that combination of information, that should give you an informed basis for a decision on expenditure and budgeting.
I think in terms of additional research that will be done, we'll be looking at comparisons of other similar programs, and on that basis we'll be able to make an informed recommendation based on that research to see what kind of results were obtained by this initiative compared to other similar initiatives, and in that way we can make those comparisons and see where improvements can be made, where costs could be cut, or if more money needs to be spent. As a means of that research, we can look at those things and come to a conclusion and recommendations based on that.